Yeah, alright. Fucking, welcome to the shop, season 2. I guess volume 2, episode 2. We're back with 3 half-decent titles to give a quick review, because we really can't think of anything else to do in the shop, but we need some content. So if you're watching out there, thanks for fucking watching. This is the realest comic show out there. So today's show, we got what? High Republic, Crossover, and Berserker.
That do be correct.
And fucking without wasting any time, let's get to it with our first one. High Republic. Who wants to kick it out? Oh, Spenny should, because he's a Star Wars fuck.
Oh, he is.
Okay, yeah, sure. So High Republic, it's a Marvel comic. It's part of the kind of new initiative that Disney's doing. They decided to basically create a new era for Star Wars stories.
One sec. Is making money a new initiative for Disney?
No, but it's a new money-making initiative.
Damn, wordplay.
Yeah, so this is part of kind of like a bigger story arc that they've got going on that includes like actual novels, I think some audiobook stuff, a bunch of different things really.
Pretty much anything that costs someone money.
Yeah, pretty much. And yeah, so it's set about 100 years before the prequels, I believe.
Yeah.
And this story follows a Padawan who's kind of completing her tenure as a Padawan pretty much.
She does in the first episode, doesn't she? In the first issue.
How do you pronounce your name? Kiwi?
Keeve,
Keeve?
I'm pretty sure. Wow.
I'm more confused about the last name. Trennis?
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 Trennis. Trennis?
Kev Trennis?
Keeve.
Keeve Trennis?
Either or, she's pretty cool. She's pretty cool.
That was some, yeah, okay. Anyway, so yeah, basically, there's this event that happens that kind of spans a big chunk of the galaxy that kind of throws everything into chaos, and the Jedi are scrambling to keep up, and she, in particular, is because she's kind of just thrust into this mantle of responsibility, fresh Jedi Knight, trying to figure out what's going on. And her master has some spooky stuff going on. We're not really sure what's up with him at first.
No.
Yeah. Master Skeeter?
Skeeves. Skeever.
Skis. Skzer.
Skzor.
I hate when they put the S's in front
Yeah,
of the
the
fucking
extra
names.
S's.
But he's
Ridiculous.
a reptile person.
Yeah,
so
we
obviously-
get it.
Skur?
Skrrr.
I think it's Screer.
Screer?
Skier?
Skier?
Skier. I think it's skier. There's 2 S's. Just skir. Skier. Skier. There's 2 E's. 2 S's, 2 E's.
Alright.
He lost his fucking arm in the war.
It'll grow back. It's
did.
gonna grow back.
He did lose his arm.
So the big kind of plot of the book is that she goes to this planet where some disappearances have been happening. These colonists are going missing. And then she has to kind of uncover what is actually causing this while dealing with a bunch of outside conflicts too.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of the book?
I thought it was a Star Wars book for Marvel, which oddly enough wasn't that fucking bad.
It was good. It was very like so right off the bat, which I found very helpful. It has like in the inside. It has like a
Oh,
timeline.
the timeline, yeah.
And it includes everything. It includes the animated series. It includes the Mandalorian. And it basically says like these are the structure of all the movies, all the Star Wars canon, and this predates all of them. It's like the first thing.
That's the same thing Dark Horse did well when they had Star Wars, and like I swear to God, it's very similar.
But
the way
there's
they did it.
but there's
Yeah.
also, there's a lot of stuff that has happened since the Dark Horse stuff. To this
no,
kind
for
of
sure.
stuff.
I'm not saying anything. And at least Dark Horse, I'm not too sure if Star Wars is doing it. But Dark Horse used to have on the trade paperbacks and on the single issue comics a symbol that would show you exactly what time frame
Yep.
it was in.
I think there's symbols there. Not that I know what they are.
Yeah.
But it's kind of that episode 1, like where there's always been that Jedi and apprentice.
Yeah.
But this was very strong, like almost like Clone Wars kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like it it felt like it could have been an episode of the Clone
Yeah.
Wars.
I mean,
What do you mean?
it's sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, what do you mean by very strong like Clone Wars?
Because like where there is a devoted Jedi and a devoted apprentice, and it's like that person who's struggling to kind of make their way and earn their way, and so being like Ahsoka in the Clone Wars, there's a very strong similarity there, which wasn't in the original trilogy. Well, the 4 through 6. It was kind of there, but in the background, right? Like Kenobi died early,
yeah, 'cause you never
and
really
Yoda
had a
died early.
master.
But when it went to the episode 1, it was very much that there's always those almost two generations, right, where they're working together, and at some point they earn their stripes and they take someone else on. So this is following that, maybe the origins of that, I'm not sure.
Okay.
But
So-
but it has that element.
So the High Republic is meant to be kind of like the Jedi at their kind of,
Snobbiest.
yeah, sure, but like kind of like the height of their, not necessarily power, but their prestige maybe. Whereas in the prequels, it's kind of like that's their power waning. They're kind of fading.
And it follows in the theme of poor hair choices too. That goes
What? I was gonna say, I thought her hair choice was dope as fuck.
no.
I was gonna
Wait, you
say,
didn't like
What's
the
wrong with you,
hairstyle?
man? Yeah.
there's, I don't think there was any particularly out there hairstyles I remember seeing.
Well, he's talking about friggin' Q's hair.
Yeah, I know.
She's
But
got half her head shaved off.
No, I like it.
Is that called the Christy Mac or is that fucking?
No, I think it's like I think it's just a mohawk, but it's just like the
It's not a
one.
mohawk
No.
if it's one-headed.
No.
Well, you don't know underneath the other side.
pretty sure it's just
You can't see because it's all swept
half
to the
shaved.
one side.
Half shaved. Just
It could be a mohawk. You don't know.
poor choice.
But
It could be a mohawk.
They said, but it's not a foot long braid anyway. So
No.
I like too how they cut off the Padawan braid with a fucking lightsaber. That's a little bit over the top.
they've always done that.
It's a bit over the top, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
so
It's
But
Star
that's
Wars.
the
It's-
yeah.
Star
So
Wars
if
is
you
anything but over the top. It's fucking. It's a recycling machine of cash.
if you
Over
like
the top.
if you like the Clone Wars, if you like the episode 1, 2, 3, I think it's very similar to that. If you're looking for something along the veins of a Mandalorian or something like that, like there's not that uniqueness per
I
se.
think I think it draws on a lot of inspiration from the Old Republic stuff that kind of predates the Disney takeover.
That's what I was kind of getting
Yeah.
from this. Like, the whole time I was reading it, I was like, this feels a lot like Old Republic.
I mean, it's bound to happen,
This
right?
is
When you just
technically the Old Republic. It's just older.
Yeah,
well, no, 'cause I
but
think
it's
it's
Old
actually
Republic
not.
is like 1,000 years.
Oh, Old Republic is older than this shit.
So Old Republic was, I don't know if it was
Fuck.
1,000 years, but
It
it's,
was really like
Yeah.
it was a long time ago.
The thing is, I think some of the Old Republic stuff is actually still canon.
Yeah.
So there is like
Really?
Yeah.
I thought they X'd all that with the expanded universe.
No, like at least Revan's canon.
And it's not like really. It's not all the way standard Star Wars. There's some pretty cool things that you don't see in some
It
other
does
Star Wars
actually
series.
dip into kind of some more like horror notes, like at least kind
Yeah.
of, at least briefly.
Yo, Brody, you're gonna make my job a nightmare here. Stop making me We ain't professional enough for me to not take
But,
a
like,
jack
Got a
ass.
spectator.
I think just from my standpoint, in terms of like the art overall, like the art is
Art was
nothing
good.
special. Like
I thought it was good.
it's fine, but like it's nothing special.
It's
like
it's not as good as some of the Star Wars books I've read. Like I think my favorite Star Wars art that I've seen inside the book, not just on like the covers, was actually there was an Obi-Wan and Anakin
Oh my God,
series
yeah.
a bunch of years ago.
Yeah,
and
we'll
that
pop up there
was
and go for it.
oh man, I feel so bad. I can't remember the artist's name, but he was
I wanna say
one
it's
of
Chichetto, but I don't
yeah,
know
it
what
was Marco
Was it
Cicchetto.
Yeah, okay, Chichetto. That guy's crazy.
And that was back when he was just getting into Marvel, like he was one of their young
who
guns.
was the dude that did Doc Afra for that first volume there?
the
I really
artist
liked
changed
his
a
art.
lot on
Yeah.
Doc Afro, man.
Well, they were pretty consistent in the first volume.
What do you mean?
Like in terms of having artists, like I think it was like the second volume. That's when they started changing up a
I
lot of
could
the
have
artists.
swore it was like almost every 6. Marvel's a bunch of fucking goons. They hate artists.
Well, yeah.
That's true.
They hate artists. They like the young guns, and then when they turn into like middle-aged guns, they get rid of them.
But
Or they start to get pretty
Shit, I made
big.
that up, but
we've kind of covered
No.
some of the story. We've kind of covered a bit of the art. Is there anything else you guys wanted to talk about with this book? So this,
yeah, I think it was a fairly creative take on. There were some cool things like those twins, the
Yeah.
Jedi twins.
Yeah.
The shit that happened with Skuzzer's arm
Steer.
or lack of
Steer.
arm. That
Yeah.
was pretty cool. The whole entity on the other side, which wasn't necessarily a dark side force thing, but it was like ominous with the dark side or something like that.
Well, they couldn't.
So-
they couldn't get a bearing on it.
So
It's-
It leaned on the dark side.
Yeah,
they mentioned it enough times.
I think one of my kind of it's not necessarily a huge critique, but I think to have a bigger picture idea of what is going on, you do have to read some of the other stories that they've put out.
yeah.
Like I think there was a novel that's kind of meant to be kind of the intro to this whole era.
Yeah, that's no Baba Marvel for you.
For sure. But I think it's something that you should know going into it. There is some like that event. They don't really explain it all that much.
Yeah.
It's kind of just like, oh, this is happening.
Yeah. Surprise.
It's a Star Wars book. If
Yeah.
you like Star Wars, you'll like this book, I guess.
Yeah,
That's
pretty
a
much.
good way to finish. Our fucking carrying on to the next title, I guess, is
Berserk.
Do you want to make fuck like Berserker?
So this is kind of like an event book because there was so much hype going into it because Keanu Reeves was one of the people writing it.
Well, shit, and this is coming, like, I don't want to say fresh off of the heels, but relatively close to that John Wick release, and John Wick was doing pretty dang good sales-wise. I guess Keanu touches it, people like it.
We're kind of in the middle of like how do you mash Keanu and Renaissance? But we're in the middle of that.
Keanu-sans?
Pretty much.
Keanu.
Arriba-sans?
Well, he's like spreading out his brand, right? Like I mean,
Yeah.
like you had the movies,
Yeah.
and then you had video games, right?
Cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk, and then you
Oh,
you got comics. Like he's like pretty soon he'll be having a Keanu Reeves cereal, probably.
I need it.
You know, from what I heard about the guy, he's a good dude, so whatever. But this does bring us into some things about non-comic book writers writing comics. But let's review the damn book first.
Yeah.
It's who's gonna take this one? You just did Star Wars, so
Okay, well.
Sandy or
Spenny, go ahead.
I'm not spending.
Yeah,
Sorry.
You're right.
Sandy, you said Spenny, and I got it.
Whatever. White
So-
people look all the same.
Keanu Reeves in this comic, because the character is essentially Keanu Reeves,
It's a
is
self
an immortal.
It looks like Keanu.
It
Reeves.
literally looks like Keanu Reeves.
That's it, but it's not
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves.
It's
So this was
literally
actually
Keanu
one thing
Reeves.
I couldn't remember. Does the character have a name? I don't think he's.
I can't
don't
even
think they have
remember
a
his name.
No, I don't know.
I don't even remember reading his name.
Shit.
Yeah,
I swear to God, we read all three.
I don't think he has a
Well,
name
Riddick didn't.
at this point in time.
But
So for all we know, it could be Keanu Reeves. 'Cause everybody
Yeah,
likes to
so
make that
I'm
joke
just
that he doesn't age.
we're just gonna call it Keanu Reeves is immortal. There we go.
Yeah,
Got
maybe
it.
it is.
it's not Keanu Reeves.
Maybe it is. Maybe issue
I
4.
didn't see the motherfucker
He's
on a
gonna be acting.
motorcycle. I
It's-
didn't see the
okay.
motherfucker playing in a band. I didn't see the motherfucker doing nice things for people in the airport. I didn't see none of that shit.
That's
Not yet.
because
It's coming.
Yeah, it's coming because
This guy
this is
doesn't like
Keanu
anybody.
Reeves' berserker
This guy
side.
doesn't like anybody. In fact, like my
should-
favorite moment in the whole comic series is at the end of the third one where he's like, "There's 4 KIA with the military faction." This will make sense once we understand, like, explain everything. But
Yeah.
and then he's like, "They got too close to me."
Issue 4,
He's
he's gonna start.
Dylon more than he's Keanu Reeves, man.
Issue 4, he gets in a phone booth and starts time traveling.
Stop that shit. Stop that.
So, anyways, it's an immortal who was born back in the tribal. It's like pre-civilization
Don't even-
days.
Yeah, just a long fucking time.
Yeah, it was like pre-Mesopotamian days,
I
and
wouldn't even said that. Say it.
I'm saying it.
you're
I'm saying
gonna
it. I had
have
to.
to-
I had to. I
I
had to
I
go
bet you can say it the
Mesopotamian.
same way twice.
Yes, I had to go Mesopotamian.
Oh, good thing you got two.
Anyways, so he is a gift from God who is born with immortality. He has fought many, many, many wars, and now he's tired of being an immortal, and he's working with the government to help him
American
find a way.
government.
Yeah, the American government. He does work for them in exchange that they help him die, essentially.
They're not going to help him.
Well,
No.
like it's very obvious the American government wants to try to find a way to reproduce the circumstances that turned him into mortal, and
Yes.
so they can create their own immortal soldiers. Because, you know, in comic books, for whatever reason, the American government doesn't think very far.
Yeah.
No.
But again, also he wasn't a gift from God per se. Like his parents were like the tribal chiefs. And, you know, they were getting beat up very badly because they had a nice piece of land
Yep.
by other tribes. And then his mom and his dad, they prayed for a solution.
Prayed for deliverance, basically. They
Yeah.
prayed for like something, and not necessarily a person, but they prayed to be freed from that situation where it's
Yes.
like it was like the Magnificent Seven, where like
Yeah.
a group would cruise in at harvest time, take all their stuff,
Yes.
kill
And
people.
then Boogie, yeah, exactly. And then his mom's got impregnated by the spirits, and out came
2 months later.
Keanu
young
Reeves.
Berserker. No, young Berserker, played by
So-
Keanu Reeves.
The comics bounce back between the present day, where he's either doing wet work for the American government, or he's having these like psychological sessions where he's kind of recounting his history and trying to figure out what exactly happened with this like psychologist lady.
Which seemed to be kicked off on like these healing sessions.
Yeah.
almost.
Yeah.
Like the more
And
he gets
then-
hurt, the more he remembers, or something. It seems like.
Well, it could also be that his like. Yeah,
It's like a reverse Logan.
But anyways, and then there's
Fuck, why'd you
Back
bring
to the
him up?
Past, where we actually see the circumstances, at least as he's telling it.
Yes.
That's the other thing is
Yeah.
we don't know how reliable of a narrator this guy is.
Well,
Exactly.
he does say his memories are fucking spot on. When he does remember, they're spot on.
Yeah, he's apparently got an eidetic memory.
I mean, I'd say that too if I was wanting to tell the story my way.
Yeah. I did it my way.
Well, you know, from what he does to the future, or in the current day, and what he does in the it lines up. He runs into places and he smashes body parts off of people.
Yeah.
So I don't think his story is too far off of what might have happened to him.
But, so we've been talking Keanu Reeves up a lot, but he isn't the only writer of this. It was also done by Matt Kint.
Is that how you pronounce that, Karen?
I thought it was like kind.
I'm
pretty sure it's
made
Kin.
it up, man. Kinderton.
I would go with Benny.
I'll go with Kinderton just to make it more exotic.
Tomato, tomato. Kind.
And then this was actually the only book today that only had one artist on it, Ron Garney.
Yeah, that's he's been around for.
That's a name from the past, yeah. Like he used to do a lot of Punisher stuff. I don't
Yeah.
know what he's done in the interim.
That actually makes sense. That does make sense now that you say it with the art style. Yeah.
See, I think he's done a few things recently. I just can't think of it.
He did some Hulk, I remember, in the 90s.
Traditionally Marvel stuff. Like
But so with the other two
Apollo
books we
from
talked
Paris.
about today, we were able to do the entire first arc. At this point in time, only Berserker 1 to 3 are out.
Yeah.
And it's meant to be a 12-part comic.
Yeah, it's a limited series, isn't
Yeah,
it?
well,
Yeah.
fuck, man. Keanu
Well-
only got X amount of time before you need to make a movie.
Yeah.
soon to be a Netflix release.
What?
possible.
It did get
Yeah.
picked up by somebody.
The New Guard.
It is very similar to the
Okay,
old arc.
actually, really quick before we switch it up to the next to crossover, because we brought this up like 2 minutes ago. There are some differences to other Immortal stories. This is not necessarily Highlander. This is not necessarily the Old Guard, though it is closest to the Old Guard, I think, in representation, because the Old Guard's a bunch of Immortals who work as PMCs.
Yes, but they were like their own, like.
But yeah, they're top secret. They keep their
Yes.
shit top secret. Meanwhile, this guy just don't give a fuck. And the other thing that we should have probably illustrated is that this isn't the first government he's worked for. Like, he's worked for several governments trying to kill himself while they try to figure out the key to immortality. Which, you know, I don't know. I don't, you know, I think it's cool, but then I think about it a little bit more and it's like, you know, it's kind of fucking weird.
Yeah.
You know, like how old do you have to be to realize that the science just ain't there? You know, especially considering, you know, you're the oldest fucking thing on the planet.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, he is literally just like, everybody before you has tried and failed. You're probably not going to succeed, but I have nothing left to lose.
They tried and
That's
failed.
fair.
They
That's
tried
fair.
and
But
died.
again, like that's the other thing I was saying. Look, man, I'm 37 years old. I don't even think the same way I did when I was 10 years old. You feel me? Like, there's certain things that just don't faze me no more. That would have phased me, they don't faze me. Now, if you add me to, like, give me 12,000 fucking years, like, I ain't doing shit. I ain't give a fuck. I'm bored as fuck. Not even the killing. But I guess this shit, we went over this too. He has to kill. Something about his composure or the way he was made forces him to fight.
Yeah, because even like, you know, he was just killing animals. He was killing whatever was walking, right? Like,
Well,
he was-
I think they kind
Yeah,
of
he was.
Well,
When he was a
they
kid,
touch
he just
on it.
murdered everything.
They touch on it in the third book where he's like, "Yo, I don't want to do this. I want to be like more than just a fucking weapon." And his dad is just abusing the shit out of him. Like, "Nah, we gotta murder everybody."
Yeah, to keep digging
And
clients.
like, so the other thing we didn't mention is he developed to maturity from like
6 months.
infant to like fully grown in like 6 months.
It was 6 months ago. Yeah, it was quick.
So he went through that whole like, you know, developmental stage of the brain in like, you know, probably 2 weeks, a month.
But you, God, why are you whining so much, man? That's all I'm trying
No,
to say.
but
He's kinda whiny.
what I mean is just like, because he, like, it could be that because he experienced that and it was just like this, you know, crazy amount of violence that kind of just impacted how his brain developed,
Maybe.
right?
I'll tell you this much, man. Berserker and Wolverine can never sit down and have a coffee. It'd be the fucking saddest excuse of fucking pathetic human being that I've
A lot
seen.
of tears would be shed.
I don't want to.
Well, we could definitely add Berserker to that meme where it's like all those superheroes like trying to wait their turn to get on the gargoyle so they can brood
Oh, my
for their
God.
brooding time. Add Berserker on there.
by issue 5, Hydra's going to show up and they'll try to recruit him.
Oh my God, man. And then somehow brainwash him into thinking.
Yeah.
So to wrap this one up, what did you guys think of the book? Would you recommend it?
I like the art. I really enjoyed the art. It's the story is like I don't know. I'm definitely not a. It seems a little generic in terms of like just the idea. I'm played out on the Immortals, so
Riddick?
Yeah, it's been there, done that. Doesn't seem like there's it's not bringing anything
Your
new.
reviews are starting to get been there, done that. Riddick, come on, man. Choose a better slogan.
Like, it's I mean, but it is what it is, right? Like it's like It's an immortal who doesn't want to be an immortal. So what does he do in the meantime? Kill a bunch of
Sulk.
stuff.
Oh, and then
Kill
sulk.
stuff that isn't.
I was gonna say
immortal.
find Sean Connery.
And then sulk a lot.
Sulk.
He's the sulkling.
I'm willing to give it a little bit more time to figure out exactly how it's different. Like 3 issues out of 12, we're still in the opening act. It could do something crazy to twist it up. I've been enjoying it so far. I'd give it a read.
I don't know. I have a feeling like America's gonna make some sort of immortal. Then Keanu has to kill it. That'd be cheesy as fuck.
I mean, but the biggest thing is like, why does America even want to make immortal soldiers? Like,
let's not get ahead of ourselves. I don't even think they want to make immortal soldiers. I think they just want to make more durable soldiers. I don't know, man. They all. I don't know. America's always portrayed in like they're crazy. Like in real life, they ain't that crazy. They're fucked, but they're not crazy. There's a difference.
Yeah.
You understand? Like if you're gonna do some fucked up shit, you're fucked. If you're gonna do some crazy shit, you're fucking crazy. It sounds simple, but there's people
seen
get
it.
confused all the time. I would only suggest it if you're a Keanu fan or a Matt Kind fan.
Kind.
But there's nothing other than the appearance
Or a
wise.
Gandhi fan.
Other than the appearance, there's not really like that. You'd pick it off the shelf and be like, oh, it's Keanu, right? Like there's not. It's not like photorealistic Keanu or anything like that. It's not-
It's pretty goddamn close, I would say.
Well, I guess it depends on the cover too. Yeah, for sure. In the comic, for sure, I don't think it looks like Keanu. It's just because he wrote the book. You're like, that's fucking Keanu Reeves. Yeah, you're right.
Even the fucking beard is like just like Keanu's.
Shit, did Garney do my War Gone By?
Get out of here!
but
So
we
Sandy's a Keanu clone too.
we do have one more book to talk about today. Crossover.
Yeah.
Where do you want to lead us in?
All right, so crossover is kind of what it is. It's an interesting. It starts off with basically a world where comic characters came to life.
Yes.
And not just heroes, villains, zombies, everything that was printed at one point in a comic appears on the earth inexplicably. And the world kind of
Colorado.
responds
Yeah, Denver.
negatively, right? Like they respond negatively to that, and there's just a bunch of fighting, and now they're a little more isolated, but the world is like, they go on a big let's ban comics, let's and there's a religious kind of tone to
Well, because someone put up a shield over the incident, right?
and then that's what, and it was one I believe that the comic characters made themselves. They put a shield, like a dome, that isolated themselves off from the rest of the world. But the rest of the world is still acting like paranoid, like they're gonna come back. What are we gonna do? Da da da. Because how are they gonna compete or fight against all these superpowered heroes? So what's really unique about it is that the creators have got the license per se, or the permission to put a number of actual comic characters in this world.
All right, there's some references.
So some of them more than the main, Marvel and DC ones, you might just get like a silhouette, but you know who it is, or a part of their costume or something that you know who it is. But they reference actual comic creators, and then the independence is like hugely represented. Particularly Madman, who makes a really steps forward, spotlights Madman for a couple of issues there. But that's really it's a crossover event that doesn't unabashedly, it's a crossover event.
Yeah,
So there's
a crossover to cross all overs.
Yeah.
so in my I'm a bit of historic, like a lot of these characters I would not be able to recognize. They're kind of
There's some deep takes.
yeah, they're more independent, recent independence, maybe in the last 5 years that
A
I'm
lot
not.
of them are image heavy.
Yeah, and image heavy.
Very
Right?
heavy
Image just wanted to support its own creators. and
But
whatnot,
Yeah, Image has had some really good books though. Oof, in the last 10 years at least, 20 years for sure.
So
Yeah.
the actual inciting incident of the kind of whole story though is basically there's this girl named Ellie who was in Denver at the time of the event, and her family was trapped inside, and she's kind of been wanting to get back in since, and then she's working at this comic store, and a character that has kind of escaped the dome that they put up shows up, and she's like, I'll take her back in and I can go find my family. And that's kind of...
Yeah, and you can visually identify. So in the comic, the way the comic's printed, like the color process is the new digital coloring process. But those comic characters that are in, they have that dot, that pixelate, that
Yes.
dot
The Andy
coloring
Warhol
process
The dot
from
printing.
from I think it's Liechtenstein, but it's kind of like it's that dot print. So some of them are covering it up with makeup, but you can visually see it. There's a visual identification, like what's real and what's the comic world kind of thing.
And I love that. That was my favorite aspect about the art. Yeah, oh yeah.
Man, my favorite part was just all the different fucking characters. Like, this is like, you ever see one of them posters where it's like, you know, almost like fucking Where's Waldo? You gotta find one.
Yeah.
This is like, test your might for comic knowledge. Like, find these motherfucking characters. Like, it's insane. They'll show you certain scenes where it's like a prison, and you'll see people's hands, and you can recognize the characters off of the costumes. On episode 6, there's this full page blowout of just everyone rumbling in the middle of fucking Denver. You know, and it's supreme. I loved it.
And in that case, they're like credited. So like in the opening, like where the credits are, it actually lists all the characters. So you could actually go through that list and look through the comic, like where is this character, right? You could actually do that.
Spenny also brought up a wiki that shows you all the features of who showed up on the.
Yeah, they had about 50 characters listed. I'm not sure if it was completely comprehensive, but.
No, they're probably missing. They're probably missing some people. I don't know how you catch every one of those guys. Like,
well, it depends who made the wiki, right?
No, for sure. I'm just saying there was so many damn appearances that you just don't know. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know if that's the full list or not.
We should.
I guess we're gonna have to pause here.
About the character appearances.
All right. So the challenges with running a video from the shop is that it has to operate as a shop, and so we had some customers come in and took care of the customers, and now we're back live. Mm-hmm. So we were in the middle of talking about crossover, and again expressing just the world that it was taking place in, and we probably didn't mention at the time that the plot is basically this girl Ellie, who was cosplayer and loves comics and whatnot. Her family is still in the dome, so she's trying to find a way to get back into the dome. So that's.
We did mention that.
Yeah.
That was the one thing about the plot that I did mention.
No, there we go.
But
we got to get back to the Doug Dimmadome.
Man, fuck the plot. I don't give a fuck about the plot for crossover. All I care about is the motherfucking characters that just keep popping up. That shit is fucking crazy to me.
It's right, and that's my fear for this book. It's like a one-trick pony in that sense.
It's not though. They killed Brian K. Vaughan.
off screen.
You know,
I don't care. They still killed his ass.
Yes, there is that, and which is this. There's an initial story arc of 6 issues, and then a couple months break, and then they're going to start again. And it looks to me like that issue number 7 is going to be just a one-time standalone issue, because they alluded to earlier in the book where comic creators are either being killed or going missing, but not inexplicably. And in the promo for issue number 7, it has a wanted poster of one of the missing comic creators, and the art team for crossover is crossed out with other artists and writers put in.
Canadian Chip Zdarsky. He's fucking Canadian.
So it's probably going to explain like who's taking them, where are they going, that kind of thing. So it just might be a little bridge between the next arc starting back up. It's kind of bridging that.
It could also be a meta thing, because I think the creative team might actually be changing for the second arc.
Well, that could very well be.
I think the entire creative team might actually be changing.
I think it's literally just for an issue. Why would you give up your baby? Ain't nobody give up their baby.
I mean, if it's meant
you love
to be,
your baby, you don't give
think
it
about
up.
it. Think about it. What better way to do a crossover comic than to bring in a bunch of different artists to cross over and work on it together?
Well, that's what he's doing. But to give it up?
Yeah, I think it's just going to be. I think personally, I just think it's probably going to be a side story where it just kind of explains some of that, and that might be a thing, depending how long this lasts. It might be a thing where like in between, because again, the comic creators these days can't keep on a monthly book. They need a break because that's the way they are now.
Yeah.
So it gives.
A lot of them are working on a lot of books at a time.
That's what I'm
right?
saying, man. Don't hate on them.
No. Don't Spenny's making an argument for people that. I mean, it's the comfort of. I mean, it takes a lot of work. But back in the day, there was artists that did 2 books a month.
Holy
right?
fuck! Did they walk uphill both times too?
Yeah.
These books, man?
But I'm saying, but nowadays it's very difficult for someone. There's a number of artists that can do it. But Greg Capullo, Eric Larson, right? Like there's a number. But usually speaking, it's like 6-issue arcs or 10-issue arcs, and then they take a break. And so with this having a bridge issue in between, it gives that the comic, because even that is 2 months before the next one comes out. But for that original creative team, they might have 3 to 4 months before picking up that next art and ensuring that it comes out in the 6 monthly issues, as opposed to not quite making the schedule, right? And so I think I'm indifferent. I don't want to say been there, done that. This is a very unique premise.
If you said been there, done that, I would have.
I said I'm not going to say that.
I know.
So-
I'm just saying if you did, I would have jumped you.
So just going back for a second, I did look it up. So it is for 7. The creative team is all changing, but it is just for the one issue.
That's what I'm telling you, man.
Except the colorist is the same.
Yo, color the same people.
Wow.
Yo, they're just like punters.
What?
So I at
They're
some point
human.
Hey. For all the young kids watching this show, I don't know why the fuck you're watching it, but special teams is very important in football. So, by association, so are colorists. Not the football. Colorists, the comics.
They are subhuman.
so
Right? It was just a joke.
So at some point, there needs to be more than just the niche of, oh, there's a character that I recognize, or there's this, right? Like there is allusions to that without spoiling what's happening in the plot, but it does to me seem like it's really hinging on that crossover, especially in the last issue, where like all these it's not so much plot as the visuals of look at all these different characters.
Yeah, it was definitely like a spectacle or a set piece
Yeah,
issue.
like-
But six issues, and they only did that once. That's tasty.
Well, they
I'm telling
kind
you,
of
man.
popped up all over the place.
They popped up in a lot of places. I'm not saying. Look,
It's the comic book version of Transformers. It's a bunch of eye
What?
candy.
What?
Eye candy.
What? Yes, you're right. Fuck, I'm not gonna argue that. But it's eye candy with meaning.
Well,
Okay,
we'll
it's
see.
meaning.
We'll see.
Yo, look, I'm telling you, if you are an Image fan,
Yes.
if you read anything Image in the last like 20 years, you're gonna reference a whole bunch of these motherfucking characters, and it's gonna make you feel very happy for some fucking reason. Like shit, some of these books I didn't even read. Like Legacy of Luther Strode, I never read that, but I recognized the motherfucker when he was in the picture. Like Jesus Christ, this shit's crazy as fuck. I can't believe they made a crossover event that's so huge, in a world full of crossovers, and yet this still didn't feel like it was an event, and it's only one book you have to pick up. It's not like you got to go pick up 60 different Image comics to follow the fucking story.
Yeah.
Like this is the pinnacle of crossovers, man. This is the god of crossovers.
So
God over.
to bring it home,
Bring it home.
how's everybody feeling? Would you recommend reading crossover?
Yes.
Sandy,
Absolutely.
Riddick?
If you like crossovers, pick up crossover.
If you like comic books, pick up crossovers. Is also what he wants to say.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence with this one because I feel like I'll keep reading it, but I don't know if it's just because I want to see where the story goes or if I actually want to read it.
I'm leaning on this because your review is literally because you're a fucking Star Wars fan, and if it's not regurgitated bullshit, simple plot storyline, you don't like it.
I mean, this is kind of regurgitated.
It's not
Simple.
regurgitated. How is it regurgitated? How is it simple? What comic book did this before?
But it's just
Framed Roger Rabbit.
it's literally just a riff on the summer comic event, right?
Yo, stop that.
That's what it
And
is.
It's bigger than that.
But it's not though.
Yes, it is.
And Stephen King's The Dome.
Stephen King's a dome.
Well, there's a dome, and
Simpsons
people can't
movie-
get in.
The Simpsons movie did it first. I'll say
What
it.
Simpsons? Who did the Simpsons crossover with? Huh?
They had a dome.
Did Valifax show up in the Simpsons crossover?
I don't know.
No, it didn't. I don't give a fuck. Valifax shows up.
All right, so since we like to
we
arbitrarily
ain't- no,
since we like to arbitrarily
we
rank
ain't.
books against each other,
I'm just
Sandy,
saying.
1,
hey,
2, 3.
Hey. You still gotta show me some proof. What's similar to this other than the fact that there's crossovers in other fucking industries, like Marvel crossover events? Where's the
Well,
context of it?
in a broader sense, okay, so if we identify, as you've mentioned, Image, right?
Yeah.
Okay, this is really the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but Image in print.
Image doesn't have a lot of crossover events though.
No, but again, but with the cinematic universe, again, a lot of the historically speaking within Marvel or any movies, they would have their, Justice League might interact with each other, but you didn't have Justice League interacting with Doom Patrol.
Okay,
or something like
fine,
that, right?
fine.
But in this, like again with Infinity War, you had like Guardians of the Galaxy, with the Avengers, with Ant-Man, all these different Spider-Man, all these different groups kind of combining together. And here it's in a comic book form, but rather than it be the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it's the Image Universe largely.
It's all of them. There's motherfucking Marvel and DC characters who pop
But
up
those
in
ones
there.
are kind of like a
They
little bit.
have to be because those bastards are so greedy they'll sue.
Yes. But it is like as Spenny says, it's an event thing. Just like Infinity War was an event thing, crossover's an event thing. And if you like Image, then you'll like it. If you don't know anybody from Image, it might not even be a relevant.
I think to be fair, it does reach a little bit beyond just liking Image. I think if you like comics in general, like, and I'm not talking like, oh, I like to read comic books. It's like, no, you like the weird intricacies of comics and all the history behind it and stuff that's also outside of the books. I think you'll enjoy this.
But if you don't, but there's that aspect of if I don't know who Madman is, then it doesn't matter if it's crossover or not because there's a character in this book.
Yeah, but then it might pique your curiosity to look up who the fuck Madman is.
For sure, but that's the whole point of crossover events, right? That's why they tell you, oh, if you like this, look at this
I don't
book.
know. I would say Marvel does it so they can force fucking sales.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, we're taking another time out here.
Yeah, that's fine. It's a good time.
All right.
All right, so fucking our crossover review got crossed over with real life, so we're just gonna fucking leave it there because we've determined that crossover is probably the most unique comic book out there.
I don't think that was the conclusion we all reached, but
History is written by the victors. So, but yeah, I guess we're gonna wrap it up because we're kind of fucked for time at this point in time, right?
Mm-hmm. We don't even know where we left off.
Yeah.
I think we gotta arbitrarily rank some books though.
Shit, yes we
I'm
do.
pretty sure you guys are arguing over who shows up as the person who saved the girl.
Thank you from the peanut
No,
gallery.
I think we were arguing that after the fact, but fucking
Yeah.
We're already chirping in.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So fucking
Let's go down the table. Sandy.
Yeah, just 1,
All
2,
right.
3.
So crossover at 1.
Yes.
I'm gonna do the High Republic at 2, and then Berserker at 3.
Ooh.
I would probably say the same,
Yeah.
but I don't know if any of them I would continue another. Like I'd probably give them each 2 issues, and my interest might wane after that.
You're fucking harsh, Riddick.
That's fair.
He's a harsh man.
He's a harsh man. He's Stone Cold Steve Austin in the comic review game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the Star Wars shill, so I gotta put High Republic first.
You don't have to.
Well, out of these books, yeah, I do. And then
Wow.
I was, in terms of what I'm most likely to keep reading, I think it's probably Berserk and then crossover.
Not Star Wars?
That's after.
Star Wars first.
Star Wars
Okay,
first,
okay.
then
Oh,
Berserk,
okay.
then
Spencer
crossover.
the corporate lawyer.
Yeesh.
You know it's actually Spenny, like 2 S's.
Penny.
All we gotta do is lop off
Slippery
one of
little
those fucking
snake,
arms.
snake.
So, all right, that's you.
Yeah.
And you said so Star Wars, Berserk, and then crossover?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
What's yours?
I just don't think I'm likely to keep reading
One sec, I'm
crossover.
in fucking shock here. Okay, yeah.
That's literally what I based it on. I
This
don't
is
think.
what Marvel does to motherfuckers. Okay. And since these guys all followed the format, I'm gonna be the person who breaks the format. Crossover, then Berserk.
Then Star Wars.
No.
Not even Star Wars.
You
then-
always break the format.
It's not even coming in 5th, Riddick.
He says that, but he loves it.
It's, I'm probably gonna keep reading it too. That's the fucking, but I'm not doing it on this show.
I'm not doing it because I enjoy it.
So actually, you know what? Star Wars wasn't that bad. Like, fuck, if I was gonna, like, if this was like, off the record, Star Wars would probably be too.
Well, like Spencer nailed it on the head. It's very much very Old Republic.
Well,
Yeah.
Marvel's Star Wars books in general are just better than most of their other titles because it's not. Like, it's not just we got a crossover here and here and here and here.
Well,
and
yeah, I
always have
think
events.
it's not as established either. Right? So it's new. It's like almost like hip hop in Europe when it was first coming around there. The European
Yeah, okay.
rappers were a lot better because it was just for the love of the game as opposed to the industry giant that it is in America. Right?
Well, and with Star Wars, you're literally talking, like, I mean, you have the movies, but you have all those books. So you're talking hundreds of resources as opposed to thousands that somehow have to interconnect.
No,
Yeah.
for sure. Like, shit, man. Like, if the Star Wars comic universe was the movie universe, I probably wouldn't be shitting on Star Wars as much. Because it feels like they're doing things, you might be like, oh, that's social justice or whatever, or fucking whatever. But it doesn't feel forced. Like, you feel me? These characters don't feel that forced.
I think my issue with Star Wars in the media right now is just how fucking
Repetitive?
No, it's very cameo based right now. Like with the Mandalorian season 2 and then
Yeah,
the Bad Batch
yeah.
now going right now. It's like every episode's like, ooh, what character from previous media is gonna pop up
Yeah.
So it is. So it is like Marvel then.
Kind of.
Well, shit. Even in the Star
When's-
Wars universe, right? They
But not
have
the comics.
crossovers.
Comics
They
aren't that
had the Dark Citadel with Doc Aphra and the Star Wars gang with Luke Skywalker and them. So they've crossed over with Aphra, and then more recently they're doing the Bounty Hunter Wars, which is like I guess the story of what happened to Han Solo in between getting frozen and being in Jabba's
But I'm
palace.
more referring to like in Mandalorian season 2, there was like 3 episodes where the entire plot was just this Star Wars characters in the real lives now.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy, huh?
Hey, Tusken Raiders are people too.
I'm pretty sure Star Wars would disagree.
But in Marvel's
wouldn't.
in Marvel's like first 20 years history, Spider-Man had that thing, right? Like when is Spider-Man going to show up in Thor? When is Spider-Man going
Yeah.
to show up in you know,
Yeah.
the X-Men or whatever? He was like the dude that just popped up places.
Yeah, a
and
little
then
bit.
they decided just to do it in everything.
And then it became Wolverine.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
When's
yeah.
Wolverine showing up?
But then all
Oh
they
my
just
God.
saw that formula. Then when's
All right,
Iron Man?
as soon as we get to Wolverine, I think that's our cue to end the
Snickety snick.
episode.
That's my cue to end my life, bro.
But another episode of the shop done and dusted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's do it. 2021. We're gonna be fucking consistent as fuck.
Yeah, damn
Just
straight.
like the other times we were going to be consistent as fuck.
right?
Yo,
Keep printing comics, so we keep recording shows.
Yeah.
if at first you don't succeed, try
Don't do it again.
motherfucker. Just keep trying. Just keep trying. And if you're out there that's facing your own little boulders, keep trying. Keep pushing.
We should find some other YouTuber and have them cross over with our group.
Kingdom Draven.
Yeah. Oh yes.
Yeah.
A big shout out to Draven and his little channel.
I
talking
don't
about-
think we could call his channel little. He's got
Bigger
more
than
subs
ours,
than us.
Yeah, that's also true. But still, like, good for him. He's getting out there. A lot of his stuff that he does about video games and a lot of the development process. Like, he's very analytical with his channel. I really enjoy that.
Okay.
And he's a good dude.
Yeah, he's a good cat. He's grown up from his sweatpants.
But,
I really enjoy it.
We're not good people, so we're going to end the show.
No,
now.
we're not. Which also means we ain't crossover with no motherfucking Marvel lover or DC lover because you fucking brainwashed, you brainwashed motherfuckers. But we'll do it.
All right,
We'll do it.
easy, guys.
We'll fucking do it. We'll do anything.